Bit of dust. As part of the drought relief program that Qantas have been doing recently to raise funds for those farmers really in need out there in the drought-stricken parts of Australia, they've flown this 747 down from Sydney for the day. You get round-trip tickets from Sydney to Avalon, you get tickets to the air show here. They had like champagne and live music in Sydney before they came out. Cost of the tickets on that flight, $747. Nice work, Qantas. Bit of a teaser of what's coming up on the channel in a couple of weeks' time. Can you see that behind me? That's coming up. Oh, look at the dust coming off the back of his engines there. Had some comments on the last video that actually got the date wrong at the beginning. I put the 29th of February. There's no 29th of February this year. Anyway, welcome to the Avalon Airshow, February the 30th. So you know I've been hanging around Southern Sun a lot, you've seen it on the videos the last couple of days, but look, bonus, along with Southern Sun, the pilot as well, this is Michael.
Greetings.
I won't explain Michael's background in the story, I'll just link to the video that we made together. But what are you doing here at the airshow, Michael?
Oh, well, we were asked to bring Southern Sun in to put on display so that people could come and see what it was all about. We've got a bit of video showing inside a tent, some of the raw footage that I took on the trip, which even I haven't seen since I got home, which is kind of bringing back some pretty
Is it
good
nice
memories.
watching it back?
Yeah, it's awesome.
I bet.
Especially the stuff like in Alaska and Greenland. I'm just looking at it. I can barely believe I was there. So you can see this is the main cabin. Now on the trip I actually removed the co-pilot stick because I was flying solo, and by removing that stick it gave me room to put a bit more stuff on this side of the plane. Now behind, under the floor here and up in the nose and behind the seats were all of the fuel tanks, and with those built-in tanks I had 240 litres, which gave me about 12 hours of flying range. But then if I needed to go a bit further, I had a tank made that fitted just in the footwell here, which didn't worked fine because I had this stick removed, and that gave me another 3 hours, so that gave me 15 hours of range. But then for the really long trips I had this bladder made that sat here, and it was like this big wobbly bag of jello, explosive jello in fact, and yeah, it was kind of pretty creepy having that there. You know, it did what it needed to do.
It was your home for
my home for 7 months.
Yeah, 7 months. Hey, so Michael, you were the Australian
Adventurer.
Australian Adventurer of the Year by the Australian Geographic magazine.
That's right.
For the pilots who are watching who might just be flying around their local aerodrome, maybe doing short trips, you know, a few hours out, but want to stretch their legs a little bit and maybe not start off by flying around the world, but maybe start doing longer trips. You got any advice from the man who's done it, you know, done the big trip?
Well, look, I must say, when I remember when I first got my license and I was going to Tassie, and I was so worked up about flying 90 minutes across Bass Strait, and I remember in my previous Sea Ray, like I actually took the life raft off my boat, you know, which was this big, on the passenger seat because I was so paranoid about 90 whole minutes over the water.
Yeah.
And now I think some of those long legs that I've done, that you just realise it's all about mental framing, and if your comfort zone is flying for 2 hours, then 4 hours seems like a lot. When I left on this trip, you know, a typical flight might have been 2 or 3 hours, but by the time I got to Indonesia I was already doing 6 and 7 hour flights. By the time I got to London I was doing 10-hour flights, and that became the new norm. So I think it's all about just pushing your boundaries so that you normalise what was once a stretch, and if you just do that bit by bit, then, you know, all of a sudden you will find yourself flying out to the outback, and, you know, there's a lot of water coming down to Lake Eyre. Wouldn't that be just a great excuse to go on a little trip?
Hey, one final question. Can I have a flight in this one day? Can we go flying together?
Now that'd be fun, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, are you happy to sit in this seat?
I can sit wherever you like.
Yeah, right. No,
Yeah.
we'll do that.
We should do that.
Yep.
All right.
Okay, coming soon.
Coming soon to the
To
channel.
a vodcast near you.
Okay. All right, let's do it. There you go. If I met you at that meet and greet that I was doing just then at the Cirrus display, I just wanted to say thank you so much for coming along. I honestly thought I booked in half an hour with the guys there, and we thought we'd probably get enough people to fill about half an hour. An hour and a half I was there talking to everyone, so if you came down, if you waited in the sunshine, and if you said hello, then it was really, really good to meet you. Thank you so much for making, honestly, that was the highlight of my whole time down here at the air show, was the fact that so many of you bothered to turn up and come and say hello to me. Awesome to meet you in person, and what that means is now I've done all of the meet and greets, the interviewing I've been doing this week. That's pretty much my last official engagement down here at the air show. Now I can actually go and watch some planes.